Hello there. Welcome. It's another exciting edition of Fruitful. I'm quite excited. It's been a whirlwind start to 2025. So this is going to be one of the ones you might be receiving somewhere in the month of February or something like that. But we've already started some exciting meetings. I'm going to tell you about the Fruitful Business Club. But today I want to go into some discussions of what we had in the business club, and then from there we would share some other thoughts. So for me, it's an exciting time. New year, new ideas, great stuff, and I hope you're doing great stuff. I hope your new year resolutions have started well enough for you. So you and I were taught to stay away from risk, as far away from risk as possible. So if you're going out to play, your mom will tell you, make sure you don't go get yourself into trouble. Your parents will warn you to stay as far away from trouble as possible. That's they trying to help you. They don't want you to take some risk, because risk comes with some dangers, and nobody wants their child to get into any kind of danger. Now, you know what that does is that it puts you on a certain on a certain path. It gives you certain mindset where risk then becomes something you run away from. Risk becomes something you try as much as possible not to indulge in, because you don't want to hurt those who love you. And because the advice to stay away from risk, it's coming from people who genuinely love you, we grow with a risk-averse mindset. Right? But is that really helping us? Truly, could it ever be that those pieces of advice they gave us is maybe held us back from achieving great stuff? In this video, that is what I want to chat with you about whether risk is something we should embrace, or whether it's something we should run away from. And if it is something we should do something with, what kind of risk are we talking about? I'll go into scripture to share some thoughts with you. So join me in this video of Fruitful with Jerry Hom. Okay, welcome back to Fruitful. My name is Jerry Hom, and so the Bible shares a very popular parable, right? I think it's in all the synoptics, the synoptic gospels, if I'm not mistaken, and I find it quite exciting, if you ask me. Matthew 25, if you look at 14 to 30, Matthew 25, 40 to 30, it tells us of this very popular parable about somebody going somewhere, a king or a master, as it were, going somewhere and then giving his disciple, he's not his disciples per se, but giving his followers some seed, money, talents, as it were. And then that same scripture is also shared, I think, in Luke 19, 12 to 27. If you look at that scripture, there's one thing that always comes to mind. If you find that parable in the Bible, does that not mean that, and in the parable, you all know what happened? The guy who took a bigger risk got a bigger reward. Why would scripture contain such a story if scripture is averse to us taking risk? I want to believe that risk is something that we have no other choice but to deal with. And the greater the risk, we all know, the bigger the rewards. And so if you are not taking the risk, then I don't think you should expect the great rewards that come with it. For instance, in that parable, you realize that the Bible said, and straight away he went to trade with it. That is the first guy. The guy who not 1 talent, 2 talents, 5 talents. Straight away he went to trade with it. What it actually tells me is that risk takers get there early. And that is one reason why it is possible they make money, or it's possible they get the reward, because they take the steps straight away. Immediately the master left, the guy gets to work. So lesson 1, risk takers, they get there early. I didn't say it. You already know that popular saying that the early bird gets the worm. So the risk taker is out there. He's taking the first big chance. He's a guy going out to the market and making sure that. So whilst the laggards are waiting to see what happened, the risk taker is already making money. Risk takers get there early. Straight away, the chap went and began to trade. That is smart. That is he taking a great risk and getting a reward. Why would he also take such the first step? I think risk takers have faith. He has faith. I don't know what he has faith in himself, faith in a divine being, but he has faith enough to take the first step. And that for me is critical. It's very, very critical in the discussion about risk takers. Risk takers, they go early, they have faith. Another thing I realize is trading by itself is risky. And this is a platform where we promote entrepreneurship. Right? Anyway, if you read through the bio on this channel, you know what we do here. If you've spent even 5 years, at least 5 years in corporate work, doing an 8 to 5 or a 9 to 5 kind of a job, this channel is basically for you. What we're trying to do is to inform you that 8 to 5, no matter how much they are paying you, if what you are receiving from your regular, you are not putting it into some entrepreneurial effort, you would retire and realize that it was never enough. That is all that this channel seeks to do. We seek to tap into your fruitfulness by telling you that there's more to do than just you go to work 8 to 5, you come home at the end of 60 years or whatever retirement age, you go home and you live on your pension. I have seen enough people to know that, trust me, that is not the life you want. For now, it might look good, but trust me, that's not the life you want. Our passion is always to ensure that you create multiple streams of income, And we're saying that one of the ways to do that is to go into an entrepreneurial venture. But it is risky. But risk takers get the rewards. The risk takers are those who get a reward. It is in the Bible. So if you went to church and you went to the mosque or whatever faith you push and you are risk averse, there is a problem because the Holy Book is pushing a risk agenda. The guy went to trade. Trading by itself is risky. He could have lost all his master's money, but he still went ahead confidently and went to trade. And yes, he made it, right? He came to show the master that, listen, I've doubled it. I've done a double of what you left me. And the guy with the 2 also came. He said, I've done a double. It's only the guy with the 1 that had a challenge. Anyway, so first of all, understand that trading is risky. But if you want to get the rewards of entrepreneurship, you must take the risk. And another part of the story that I like is the fact that everybody got something. Think about it. Everybody got something. Somebody got 1, somebody got 2, somebody got 5, but everybody got something. What does that tell me? Every one of us, we have something that we can use to create some level of income. Everybody got something. Everybody. Somebody got more, somebody got less, but everybody got something, right? Another reason why I think entrepreneurship, trading, risk-taking is the way to go is that, and this is something I am very passionate about. I believe strongly that because God is a God who believes in working together. Don't forget, he said, let us. So he's a God who believes in working together. Another part of scripture, he says, come, let us reason together. Right? So he's not a God who wants to work all alone. Otherwise, he wouldn't have created man. He created man to have communion with man, to interact with man and all that. So he's a God who likes to work. That's why no man is created an island. We all know that. I don't want to belabor that point. But what I'm saying is that, do you realize that it is in trading and risk-taking and entrepreneurship, necessarily you must deal with somebody. That is why I think heaven smiles on business. Because you cannot work alone. You must go work with somebody. You must go try and solve somebody's problem. And by solving the person's problem, your problem gets solved. What is more beautiful than that? That is why I believe that entrepreneurship is something that heaven smiles upon, because trading involves engaging others, which is part of God's agenda for creating harmony on this earth. You go solve somebody's problem, somebody solves yours, and then you give the person money. You go solve somebody's problem, the person gives you money as well. So I think it's important that as people, we must begin not to run away from risk, but begin to appreciate risk. Begin to teach our children to take calculated risk. I'm not saying go gang-ho and go get yourself into trouble, but I'm talking about you taking calculated risk which will yield something for you. And if you start at an early age and we begin to teach our children that, yes, push yourself a little, they will grow to become people who would not run away from risk. It is the fact that you're running away from risk, which is why you are where you are. Trust me. Because somebody who took a riskier path made it, and now you are serving the person. If you're working for somebody, don't forget that the person took a risk of setting up the business for you to come work. And that person then runs the show, and you do what? You work for the person. Somebody saying, so what do we do? Let me tell you what to do. I just said, teach your children how to take calculated risk. You know what calculated risk is? Research before you make the move, right? Look before you leap, we are told, right? Dip your feet in the water a little and test the temperature before you dive in. There's nothing wrong with that. And that is also scriptural. How do I know? Joshua, the spies. Don't forget, Joshua was among the first spies that were sent, and he and Caleb brought a good report, and the 10 others brought a negative report, and God punished them. They walked in the wilderness for 40 years. But when he also got to the edge, he sent spies, because he's already been a spy before. What is sending spies? Sending spies is you testing the waters, checking if this thing we are going to do would work, testing it on a pilot basis before going all out and investing everything into it. So research before jumping is a key to taking calculated risk, and I like that, right? And then there is this angle to the risks, and I want to talk about before I wrap up. This is just me throwing my thoughts out there. So the guy didn't take risk. The boss comes back. He goes and says, "This is your one talent you gave me. I was afraid of you. I know the kind of person you are. I didn't want to risk and go lose it. So this is your talent." You know what they told the guy? You remember what the master said? He said, "You're wicked. You're wicked and evil servant. You knew I reap where I do not sow. You knew I was da. Why didn't you put my money in a bank so that at least when I came back, I would get some interest on it?" Not taking risk was actually equated to being evil. Let us sink in. Not taking risk was actually equated as being evil. So it's food for thought. I just want you to think about it. It's food for thought. Because not taking risk means, so we are even told in scripture that he went to bury the talent. Think about it this way. Not taking risk would actually anger God. Why? You're not going out there to try and solve somebody's problem. Why would God be happy about you? You're not going out there to go engage somebody. Why will a God who created us to engage with each other be happy when you went to hide your talent and went to hide somewhere? He won't be happy with you. He wouldn't be happy with you. So in a nutshell, for me, it is a no-brainer that we need to learn to take risk. We need to go out there and, in the very least, try something. And for those of us who are in an 8 to 5, a good stable job, what is there to lose? If you use your spare time to try and make some extra money or create another income stream, what is there to lose? You're already going to work 8 to 5. You're already being paid. You already have a stable, that's why it's called a stable job or a stable income. You already have a stable income. Why not take a bit of a risk? Weekends, try and do something. If it goes bad, what? If it goes bad, nothing. You're already going to work the next Monday, right? So yes, let's rethink what risk is. And that's all I'm trying to say. Let's rethink it, because from where I sit, we should reward the risk takers. Reward the risk takers. And that is what was done in the Bible, right? The guys, the two of them, the guy who got 5 and brought 5 more, the guy who got 2 and brought 2 more, they were told, in fact, this is what excites me more. If you go into that parable, have you realized that they took the one from the guy who hid it and gave it to the guy with 5? They took from the guy who didn't do anything with it. He took his 1. They didn't give it to the guy with 2, who now had 4, for him to get 5. They gave it to the guy who now had 10, for him to get 11. Why? Because the greater risk taker was the one they rewarded more. Let us sink in. Think about it. Let us sink in. That's what this channel is all about. Your weekends, your spare times, in an era where there is social media, in an era where there's technology to help you. I think if you're not taking risk, I'm sorry, but you'll be also described as wicked and evil if you're not taking risk. It is what it is. So yes, this is fruitful. There are more videos on this very channel, so you can check them out. We're just trying to get you into thinking in two ways: entrepreneurial, think as an entrepreneur, and then also think multiple streams of income every single time. Thank you very much.